Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
It's our News Watch unit for the month of June. And we've got a couple of news stories here that we're going to talk about today. Let's see. The first one is about something called FDA to allow lab animal adoption. Okay,
From
that's
lab
pretty
to
cool.
love.
Yeah,
right
that's
there.
cool.
Yeah.
It's a good way for animals to be adopted after they have been experimented on with various drugs. So that's good. That's going on in the USA. I don't know if they do that here in Taiwan, if they test drugs on animals or whatever. So that's the first story. And the other one is about some kind of arm for people who have lost their arms or legs.
Yeah, which is going to help a lot of veterans. Those are soldiers that served their countries and came home disabled. A lot of bombs, they have blown off limbs of our soldiers, as you know, arms and legs. And so this Luke arm, which is named after Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars movies, is bringing a lot of hope to some of these veterans. It's really a cool arm. You have to check it out.
So let's get to it, everybody. Let's listen to our lesson from top to bottom, read one time.
From lab to love, FDA to allow lab animal adoption. The U.S.'s Food and Drug Administration, FDA, has introduced a new policy specifying that animals used in drug testing can now be adopted. It's a legal requirement for many drugs and vaccines to be tested on animals before they can undergo human trials. These tests determine how quickly the medicine in question is absorbed into and leaves the body. They also reveal any toxic side effects. Tragically, these animals, which include cats, dogs, and guinea pigs, were often put down after a single drug test. Now, though, they have another shot at life. Since most of these animals have never been outside, they need a lot of love and some time to adapt to the real world. For that reason, most have been adopted by special rescue shelters and retirement sanctuaries where they can get the care they need. The FDA is trying to phase out animal testing and is investigating other means of drug testing. Hopefully, technology will progress to the point where animal testing is no longer required.
Luke arm brings new dimension to prosthetic limbs. A new design of prosthetic arm has gone further than previous models and allows its wearers to feel as well as move things. The Luke arm incorporates a brain-computer interface, BCI, that links the prosthetic with the muscles and nerves. This sends sensory information from the hand to the brain and can inform the wearer of over 100 different sensations, including texture and vibrations. What's more, the wearer can sense any motions they make, feeling the contractions of muscles that are no longer there. It even reduces phantom limb pain. Another important difference between the Luke arm and previous mind-controlled prosthetic limb designs is the interface. The BCI is implanted into the nerve endings of the user's missing limb and allows their brain to directly move the arm, while previous designs required brain implants and risky surgery. Right now, the arm still needs to be connected to a computer to allow the BCI to function. The next stage of development is to make a prosthetic that can be connected wirelessly, giving the wearers all the freedom they desire.
Okay, guys, let's get started. This is our first story here at the top. From lab to love, FDA to allow lab animal adoption. This is the headline. That's what we call those titles if it's a news story. Notice here that we don't have adoption with an S. This is a singular, but actually it can be used for a big group. Some of our English words, which makes it hard, I know. Some of our words can be count and non-count. Here we are using the non-count form to talk about that whole idea. But if you put an S on it, I would not mark you down as getting it wrong. So you have a choice there. It's a special word, though. Now,
right, it's kind of like about the concept of adoption.
Yeah, yeah, it's a big umbrella over the whole idea.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what's happening here. The FDA, which is the U.S.'s Food and Drug Administration, they have introduced a new policy specifying that animals used in drug testing can now be adopted. Not adapted, but adopted, okay? When you adopt a child or an animal, you bring it into your home and they can live with you and be your pet or your child or whatever. To adapt kind of means to sort of make some changes to something, but in this particular case, adopt, again, as I said, means somebody moves in with you, basically, and joins your family. So this is the FDA, and they've got this new policy, this new way they're doing things, and it specifies, it says exactly that animals that they use in drug testing can now be adopted, okay? They're not going to shoot the animals. They're not going to put them to sleep like they did before. They can actually go to someone's home and be their pet.
It's so nice. Yeah, specify. That's a word we use quite often. If someone specifies something, they make it very clear what they need. So you're mentioning some detail, or maybe you're breaking down a program so it's more understandable to somebody. They specify. For example, I could say, my boss wants me to complete this report, and I might have a friend say, well, what kind of report is it? Did he specify what you need to include? And in that instance, it just means, did he mention what he wanted? So they're specifying the animals used in drug testing can now be adopted. I think that's wonderful. They do a great service for us because drug testing is very dangerous, as you might know. Some of these drugs end up getting tossed aside because they cause such awful side effects. So I think it's wonderful that some of these animals that have done such a wonderful thing for us can then be taken home and be loved. Given some love and care. I love it.
It's great. Now, it's a legal requirement for many drugs and vaccines to be tested on animals before they can undergo human trials. So it's the law in the United States. There is a legal requirement for lots of drugs and medicines and vaccines and such to be tested on animals. Yeah, before you can test these drugs on people, you've got to test them on animals first. That's the law here. It's a legal requirement. And then they will undergo human trials. Like if they're trying to find a vaccine for a virus or something, I guess they're going to test it on animals like dogs, cats, maybe monkeys or something like that. And these tests determine how quickly the medicine in question is absorbed into and leaves the body. So the medicine in question, which means basically the medicine that we are talking about, the medicine in question, or the medicine that they are specifically testing, that medicine needs to be tested so that they know if it can be absorbed into the body and then leave the body. That's basically what they're looking for.
How long it lasts inside, yeah. They also reveal or tell us any toxic side effects that drug might have, that medicine. So that's a very important part of drug testing. If something's toxic, another word for that is poisonous. So, of course, a lot of drugs affect our bodies harshly, but, at the same time, they're trying to help our bodies overcome another problem. I have a friend who is a president of a pharmaceutical company in Taiwan, and she tells me very seriously, don't take any prescription medicine. All drugs have side effects, so they're helping us, but at the same time, they're doing something else that's not very nice. But sometimes you have to have those drugs to even breathe like I do. Now, tragically, these animals, which include cats, dogs, and guinea pigs, and of course monkeys and rats seem to be things that they test on quite often. They're often put down after a single drug test. Put down is a phrase that we only use for animals, guys. For example, our dog was almost 18 years old and had cancer. He'd gone blind. That poor guy, just had a hard time. And the vet told us we needed to let him go. So we use that phrase for animals that are put to sleep and then killed that way. They put them down.
Yeah, you wouldn't say that about your old grandmother.
No.
Yeah, we had her put down. She was in so much pain. You can't do that. It's only used with animals. So indeed here, yes, these animals used to be put down after a single drug test.
Wow.
So they just tested one drug and then they put them to sleep. They killed them. Now, though, they have another shot at life. They have another chance to keep on living as a dog, as a cat, or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, since most of these animals have never been outside, they need a lot of love and some time to adapt to the real world. So there's adapt there. It's not adopt, adapt. That means to get used to something in this particular context. And yeah, they've spent their whole lives living in a laboratory with white walls, and they never have seen grass or the sun. So yeah, it's going to take them some time to get used to the real world.
Yeah, can you imagine? It would be a very, very big change for them. So they're going to have another shot or chance at life. We use that shot for chance quite often, guys. I want another shot at it. I want another chance. Since most of these animals have never been outside, like Tom said, you got to take it slow so that they're not freaked out when they have to learn to adapt to the real world. So a lot of these shelters, they're called special rescue shelters. And retirement sanctuaries are places where you can go and pick up the pets you need. They can get the care they need there. A sanctuary is a place where someone who's in trouble or, maybe it's a dangerous area of the world, they can find a refuge there. They can feel protected and safe at a sanctuary. So those are two special places that these animals have been adopted and gone and gotten used to the real world at that point.
Now, the FDA is trying to phase out animal testing and is investigating other means or other ways for drug testing. Hopefully, technology will progress to the point where animal testing is no longer required. So they want to phase out this program. They want to phase it out, which means they just want to slowly stop doing that. Lots of things are phased out over time. They don't stop them right away.
Yeah.
They stop them gradually.
Like software.
Exactly. They're going to phase
software.
out Windows 98 or whatever because people still... What is it, XP or something? They phased that out over time. I was so used to using that, and they gradually phased it out, so I had to start using Windows 7.
You're forced to upgrade, yeah.
You're forced to, no choice. But in any case, that brings us to the midway point in today's lesson. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
大家好，欢迎收听 English Digest， 我是哈利。我们今天要讲解的文章是 Unit 11的 News Watch。首先我们看到第一篇新闻的标题中有一个名词 adoption， 有收养、采纳的意思，动词是 adopt， A-D-O-P-T。 The actress adopted 2 boys and loved them as much as her own children. 那名女演员收养了2名男孩，并对他们视如己出。以下几个单字看起来和 adopt 很相似，意思却不同，使用时要小心。第一个字是文章第二段第一句后半出现的动词 adapt， A-D-A-P-T， 适应、改编的意思。名词是 adaptation， A-D-A-P-T-A-T-I-O-N。 片语 adapt to something 是指适应某事物。例如David found it hard to adapt to life in America and soon moved back to Taiwan. 大卫发现很难适应美国的生活，并很快地搬回了台湾。另一个字是形容词 adept， A-D-E-P-T， 意思是熟悉的、擅长的。片语 be adept at doing something 是指擅长某事物。John wants to be a mechanic because he is fond of and adept at fixing machines. 约翰想要成为一名技师，因为他喜欢也擅长修理机器。我们接着看到第一篇新闻的第一段第一句。The FDA has introduced a new policy specifying that 这一句 FDA 推行了一项新政策，明确地指出。本句使用了2个关系代名词省略后的分词结构。第一个关代在 policy 后面，原句为 a new policy that specifies。关代 that 在其所接的子句中做主格用，省略后因为 specifies 为主动语态， 因此变成现在分词 specifying。另一个省略的冠带是在 animals 后面，原句为 animals that are used in drug testing。冠带 that 省略后，因为 are used 为被动语态，因此也省略 be 动词 are， 只留下过去分词 used。我们接着看到这篇新闻最后一段的第一句 The FDA is trying to phase out animal testing. FDA 试图逐步淘汰动物测试。片语 phase out 是逐渐废除的意思。Some laws that are outdated are being phased out. 有些不合时宜的法律正逐渐被废除。phase 也可以做名词用，有阶段、时期的意思。例如 Despite some problems in the initial phase of the project, it is going much more smoothly now. 尽管这个计划在初期有一些问题，现在进行得顺利得多。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, let's continue to talk about our next news story. We just talked about from lab to love. You might be able to adapt these pets from laboratories after they have had some drugs tested on them. You're a very good person if you adopt such an animal. But today we're going to be talking about the Luke arm, okay? That's our new story here. The Luke arm brings new dimension to prosthetic limbs. So basically a prosthetic limb. That's
hard to say.
Yeah, even for native speakers there, because we've got the TH sound there. A lot of people just say prosthetic. I've heard that a lot from native speakers, but you're technically supposed to say prosthetic, which means a fake arm or fake leg because you've lost it for some reason.
Yeah, and most of these prosthetic limbs are going to our wonderful veterans who went to war to save to protect their own countries and keep us free. A lot of them have been damaged and disabled through bombs and other accidents and injuries. It's a hard thing to do to go to war. Well, they are being fitted for this new type of arm. This Luke arm has kind of a fun title. Tom and I were talking about this before we started. We thought that Luke was an acronym that stood for something. I looked it up, and it's actually being named after Luke Skywalker. Remember his bad dad is Darth Vader, and he gets his hand severed, which means cut off, and suddenly he has no hand. He gets a prosthetic hand. So it's kind of named after him, which is fun.
So yeah, it's a prosthetic arm. In this particular case, it's we're talking about arms here, but prosthetics could also be legs. And what other limbs are there? I can only think of arms
Just
and
arms
legs.
And legs.
I don't think there's anything else.
Your head does not count.
Is there a prosthetic ear or a prosthetic nose or tongue or something?
I think you could say that, yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
But it's not a limb.
Some people might need those things. But in any case here, let's get into the actual article itself here. It says, a new design of prosthetic arm has gone further than previous models and allows its wearers to feel as well as move things. So we've had prosthetic arms before, but those are the previous models. But this new one goes further. It does more than those previous models because it actually allows the person wearing it to feel things.
Cool.
I guess you couldn't do that before. And you could also move things. A lot of people have those prosthetics, but they're kind of just there for show. They can't really use them. Like a friend of my dad's had his arm blown off in the Korean War or something like that. So he had a prosthetic arm that he didn't really use. Okay, it was this hand sticking out, but he didn't really use it for anything.
Yeah, my cousin got his hand cut off. And yeah, there's just a little like rubber-like hand, but he doesn't use it. You know, it's just to kind of hold things sometimes. But this one is actually letting them feel. They have feelings. So this Luke arm incorporates a brain-computer interface, which is shortened to BCI, brain-computer interface, that links the prosthetic with the muscles and nerves of that person's body. To incorporate something just means to include it you'll often see us use the phrase incorporate something into something. For example, if you're doing a research paper, you might find some new information and take your paper and try to incorporate that new information you found through your research into your paper. So here it's incorporates a brain-computer interface. That's how that interface is how two systems talk to each other, how they communicate.
The interface, basically, indeed, like MIDI, musical instrument digital interface.
MIDI.
Old kind of, I guess, piano or something like that.
Synthesizers, yeah.
But that goes way back in time. That's they do that with computers now in any case. But this is the brain-computer interface. It will connect the prosthetic with the muscles and with the nerves. And this sends sensory information from the hand to the brain through the nerves and can inform the wearer of over 100 different sensations. A sensation is a feeling. It could be for temperature. It could be for texture. Texture, of course, refers to how something feels or the nature of something. Is it smooth? Is it rough? Is it kind of pointy or prickly? That's the texture of something. And also here, it will let you feel those vibrations, which of course happens when there's an earthquake. Maybe the floor starts to vibrate. That's the verb, and vibration is the noun.
As a slang phrase, we'll often say, ooh, I get bad vibes from that guy, or I get good vibes from that guy. Vibes is just short for vibrations. You have a general emotional feeling about that person or place. You could say it for a place. Maybe you like a club or a restaurant a lot. Yeah, that place has good vibes. Anyway, what's more, it says the wearer can sense any motions they make. So they can actually feel if it's moving and feeling the contractions of muscles that are no longer there. Contracting means to shrink up. It's when your muscle moves. When ladies have babies, they have those contractions, which, is that muscle moving in and out, and you can definitely feel it. So they're feeling contractions of muscles that aren't even there. It even reduces phantom limb pain. Phantom means ghost, and so some of these people who have lost limbs still can feel the pain from that limb, although it's not even there.
Yes, that's kind of painful, of course, if you've had...
yeah, it's horrible.
If you've lost a leg or something like that, you might have a phantom limb. And another important difference between the Luke arm and previous mind-controlled prosthetic limb designs is the interface. We did talk about interface earlier here. Just basically the connection between the limb and the brain. Okay, so the connection here or the interface is different between the Luke arm and these previous models. These were previous mind-controlled models. So yes, there were some prosthetic limbs in the past that allowed the mind to control them, but this one is different. It's got something that the other ones did not have.
This BCI is implanted into the nerve endings of the user's missing limb. When they cut something off, guys, that end part, the stub, S-T-U-B, is there, and they're probably going in there and then connecting this BCI to the nerve endings that are still there in that stub that has remained. And that allows the brain of that person to directly move the arm, while previous designs required brain implants and risky surgery. Yeah, this way they don't have to open up the brain of the person. They're actually going directly to that limb to put that interface in there, the BCI, which is great. Implant means to put something into something else. We see a lot of sci-fi films where, some character has something punched or put into his arm to track him around the world. Lots of implants are going on with people who want to change the way they look. They might have an implant, which means it's put inside something else.
Indeed. So I guess they don't have to have brain surgery now, and they just put these things directly into their nerve endings.
Tom, I wanted to mention to the listeners, the verb is to implant. And the strong syllable is on the second syllable, implant something. But the noun is implant.
Very good. Okay, so they will not require risky surgery now,
Good.
thanks to this. And right now, the arm still needs to be connected to a computer to allow the BCI to function. So they still need to use a computer. But the next stage of development is to make a prosthetic that can be connected wirelessly, so they don't have to have wires going directly to your arm there. And that will give the wearers all the freedom they desire. So hopefully this will be developed eventually, and people who have lost limbs will feel like normal people again. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Here comes our Chinese teacher.
我们接着看到第二篇新闻的第一句，一种新的假手臂设计比以前的模型更推进一步，使穿戴者能感觉和移动物品。动词 allow 有允许、使、能够的意思。今年的学测课漏字就考了 allow 的用法。Allow somebody to do something 意思是允许或使某人能够做某事。The superb weather allowed us to have a picnic as planned. 这超好的天气让我们可以按照原计划去野餐。第一段说明 look arm 所带来的帮助。我们看到这一段的倒数第二句中有一个名词 contraction， 可以用来指金属的收缩或是分娩时子宫的收缩。另外 contract C-O-N-T-R-A-C-T 可以作为名词或动词用。作为名词用时念作 contract， 有合约、契约的意思。When drawing up contracts, people often require the expertise of a lawyer. 在拟合约时，人们往往需要律师的专业知识协助。做动词时，念作 contract， 有签约、感染、收缩的意思。In the past few weeks, a lot of people have contracted COVID-19, and some have died. 在过去几个星期来，有很多人感染新冠肺炎，有些已经过世了。这篇新闻的最后一段比较 look arm 和之前的意知有什么不同？我们看到这一段的第二句里有一个连接词 while。while 放在句中的时候有然而的意思，用来连接两个在文意上成对比的子句。例如 Some wild mushrooms are edible, while others are poisonous. 有些野生蘑菇是可食用的，然而有些是有毒的。While 也可以放在句首，表示虽然的意思。While the task was difficult, Jenny managed to finish it all by herself. 虽然这个任务很困难，但珍妮设法自己完成了这项任务。另外 while 无论是放在句首或是句中都有当什么时候的意思。While shaving, Phil accidentally cut himself with his razor blade. 菲尔在刮胡子的时候不小心被刮胡刀片刮伤了。以上就是今天的课程，谢谢大家收听。
Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully this new technology will help people who have lost arms and legs feel normal again, and some of those pets that are experimented on will have happy homes in the future. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.